Ask Ye the Prophets weekly podcast.
Every race in the movie.
We are not the trust. We are not the trust. We are trusted, and we are not the trust.
Send in your questions to askyetheprophets@gmail.com or Ask Ye the Prophets on Facebook. And your questions will be answered live every Wednesday, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Shalom.
He's speaking of his own. What's that old Ten Commandments? The white man made himself be the Egyptians and the Israelites. And the Persians. Every race in the movie.
Do we dedicate us another Passover of brothers and sisters' lives being saved, man? And if I could, Most High in Christ. Most High in Christ. Wow. Let me tell you something. Hey, Rakam, tell him to set it off, Rakam. Quit your salam! Quit your salam! Who are you feeling? Who are you feeling? What's your name? We want no powers that are can't and I can't have a light on. We want no powers that I can't and I can't only can prepare to die. We want no powers that I can't and I can't and let's take colors fly. We want no.
in all your generations. You need me, Asher? That's the one I think I wanted earlier. Hold both of those when Asher's done.
Ye shall keep it a feast by an ordinance forever.
How long? How long?
Forever.
Like most things in the Bible, the fact that it happened, thousands of years ago is irrelevant. That means absolutely nothing because you have to do this thing forever. Continue.
Verse 15. 7 days ye shall eat unleavened bread. Even the first day shall ye put away leaven out your houses.
So that answers the first question, Splotkin. When do you have to stop eating crackers that are leavened, donuts, pizza? That's the big one. That's the one that's hard to give up that pizza. In about 7 days, it's going to be a mad rush to get pizza wherever you are. I can't even stand pizza, but every 7 years, I want pizza. I mean, every 7 days, I want pizza. After this holiday, I don't know what the hell it is. There must be a demon on the pizza. Well, anyway, you had to get out your house last night. So you could not eat leavened products last night. What are leavened products? Donuts, pizza, bread in general. Most cereals contain leavening. Asher? Last night. Getting the leaven out of your home started last night. And of course, if the leaven isn't in your home, it can't go in your mouth. Right? So you couldn't eat leaven last night. Everybody gets that? Can continue.
Seven days shall ye eat unleavened bread. Even the first day you shall put away leaven out of your houses. For whosoever eateth leavened bread from the first day until the 7th day, that soul shall be cut off from Israel.
Well, you couldn't be counted as an Israelite anymore. You'd be a heathen or a Gentile because you did not get rid of the leaven. You start the Passover night, you start the Feast of Unleavened Bread is tonight. That's where we all come together for a feast to celebrate eating unleavened bread. But the leaven have to get out of your home for the Passover. Continue.
Verse 16. And in the first day there shall be an holy convocation. And in the 7th day there shall be a holy convocation to you. No manner of work shall be done in them, save that which every man must eat, that only may be done of you.
That just means it's a Sabbath, and that's what we're doing right now. It's a Sabbath, meaning it's a mandatory day off from your Israelite boss. He can't force you to work. The only work that can be done is the work that's done to prepare the lamb and prepare the bread. Go ahead.
Verse 17. And ye shall observe the feast of unleavened bread, for in the selfsame day have I brought your armies out of the land of Egypt.
Have I brought your what?
Your armies out of the land of Egypt.
Have I brought your what?
Your armies out of the land of Egypt.
That's why we're celebrating. Shout out to the Hebrew Academy. Give yourselves a hand. Where's the Hebrew Academy at? If you graduate Hebrew Academy, stand up right now. Hebrew Academy, give them a hand out. Give them a hand. Look at it. How does it feel? How does it feel to be better than other men? How does that feel? Feeling good, doesn't it? Yeah. You see, that's a gift. It's a gift. It's a gift that Commander General Yohana provides so many of us. The gift of knowing that you're better than other men. That you're better than them. Sisters, how does it feel to lay next to a man who's better than other men? Oh, I know. You're damn right. Give him a hand. It's a precious thing. It's a precious thing. But on this night, our armies came out of captivity. Our armies were free from the land of captivity, free to defend their own families and raise their own businesses and to decide their own future. And because of that, we celebrate. And that's why we're here tonight. Is everybody eating unleavened bread? Man, get the bread out of here. Start feeding everybody all the time. Don't wait to feed other people when we're doing these high holy days, all right? Just start getting it on immediately. With the wine and the food and everything. Give it a hand. That's the whole point of this. But this is not a class. You get that, right? This is a what? It's a feast, right? That's the whole damn thing. For what? I got some right here. All right, that's the whole point of this whole thing. All right, continue.
Therefore shall ye observe this day in your generations by an ordinance forever. Verse 18. In the first month of the 14th day of the month at eve, ye shall eat unleavened bread until the 20th day of the month.
The first day and the what day?
The first day of the month.
And the what day? You said it just now.
Yeah. Okay, the first month, in the first month, on the 14th day of the month, you shall eat unleavened bread.
And what's the first day? What's the 14th day of the first month? Passover. Passover, which is why you could not eat unleavened bread yesterday. Because on the 14th day of the first month, ye shall eat unleavened bread. You got to eat unleavened bread. You can't eat leavened bread. So you can't have pizza, most cereals. Am I missing something every year that people ask about? Oh, breadcrumbs. Some of you fry things with breadcrumbs. You can't do that for the next 7 days. What else?
Flour tortillas.
There you go. You cannot eat flour tortillas that you buy, because all flour tortillas that are commercially obtained have leaven in them. But you can eat corn tortillas. Corn tortillas are, by definition, unleavened bread. Give them a hand. So it's going to be Taco Tuesday for 7 days. Say again? Bedia, give him a hand. Give Asher a hand. It's right up his alley. It's all he want to eat anything. Yes. Everyday tacos, all the tacos you want. All of them. Eat them all the time. Get your fill of tacos. As long as they're corn tacos, they are unleavened bread, which is more proof that the tribes, the so-called the northern kingdom, the so-called Hispanics, that is in their culture to eat unleavened bread. Right? And so now we'll all eat it for 7 days. All right? I'm sorry, continue. Beer is lawful. Let me give you the things that are lawful that might confuse you. Yeast extract. You have to read the back of everything, every baked good. You got to read it down, right? And you might see yeast extract. Yeast extract is not yeast. Yeast extract is a caramel flavor. That's it. There is no leaven at all in yeast extract. You can completely eat it. It's fine. Everybody understands. What you cannot eat is sodium bicarbonate. You cannot eat baking soda. And you cannot eat leavening agent. And you cannot eat yeast. So if you buy something, you got to read the back of everything and teach your children to do it. It might not only teach them the law, but it might teach them also how to read. That also is profitable. All right? Oz, we good here? Go ahead. If you have any questions about what to eat, ask it now. If you want to know, can you eat this? Can you eat Ritz crackers? Hell no. You cannot eat a Ritz cracker. What about those pretzels? You cannot eat pretzels either. Damn right, no pretzels. You cannot eat, come on. Oh, man. What is an unleavened cereal? Who remembers? Cheerios. Cheerios. Even the Honey Nut Cheerios? All right, you heard him. Honey Nut Cheerios. All right, Cheerios are unleavened, according to that officer over there. Go ahead. That's just not officer. Right, correct. But most cereals, the flakes, all those flakes, leaven. Any type of flake, that's why it's flaked. It's flaked because it has baking powder, baking soda in it. And that's the reason it crisps up like that. Fried chicken. Now you can make fried chicken at home. That's fine because you can eat flour because the unleavened bread is made of flour, right? So you can coat your chicken in flour, but you cannot eat KFC original recipe. You cannot eat KFC at all, or Popeyes at all, because the crispy exterior is because of a leavening agent, right? So you cannot eat any Popeyes there. No Popeyes at all. None of that. What else do they love to eat? All your fried chickens, you just really can't eat them because they all have leavening in it, but you still can make it at home. You might, some of your terrible Moabite places, they don't have leaven in their fried chicken. And 4 chicken wings and fried rice, that is unleavened, just to let you know. All right? Am I missing something? You get it. All right, go ahead.
Verse 18. In the first month of the 14th day of the month at evening shall ye unleaven bread unto the 1 and 20th day of the month at evening.
All right.
Verse 19. 7 days your houses, or whosoever eateth that which is unleavened, even that so shall be cut off from the congregation.
So you don't want to get kicked out of the nation because someone saw leavening in your house because you can't eat it. So they can use other microphone if you don't mind. You were right. So now, so that you better give me his if you don't mind. So you get it out your house because if anybody eats it, they're kicked out of the nation. Some of you get it at us because we kick people out of school. Give me a hand for kicking people out of this goddamn school. I do many duties in man in general honor, the man that I serve, but that one I do out of pleasure. That's my pleasure to kick people out of the school. I kicked people out this week and they couldn't come to the Passover. And when I heard about it, it gave me such pleasure. Well, guess what? Get out of here. Well, if you were caught eating bread, you got kicked out the nation. No one would even consider you an Israelite. Do you understand that? They would say, "Are you an Israelite?" Well, not him. No, he's not. He's a heathen. He's a Gentile. You were kicked out of the nation for eating bread. For eating bread. So to make sure you don't eat it, you had to get it out your house. So when you went home, you were supposed to get the bread out of your crib. You got bread in your refrigerator, bread in your cabinets, cereal with leavening. That had to be gone by sundown Passover. Everyone understands. That had to go. Now remember it says out of your house. So what are your options? You can throw it away, which you always can do. You can put it in the trunk of your car. You put it in your basement, somewhere where everyone knows that you can't get to it and eat it. You get my point? Like many states have a law about handguns. If you can't have a handgun in this state, but you have one in your car, it has to be unloaded and in your trunk. Why? Because they know then you can't get to it. And bread is the same way for the Feast of Unleavened Bread. So put it somewhere where if the priest came to your house, he would know for a fact you weren't eating it. Because it's in the trunk of my car, it's on the roof, it's in the basement packed away in a box, or it's in the damn trash outside. Everyone gets it, right? Continue. Let me know when we're done so I can go to the other ones, Ash.
Verse 18 until verse 19.
Yeah.
Shall be cut off from the congregation of Israel, whether he be a stranger or born in the land. Verse 20. You shall eat nothing in all your habitations. shall you eat unleavened bread. Verse 21.
Okay, also, I forgot that part. Okay, you shall eat nothing leavened, and in all your habitations ye shall eat unleavened bread. So not only must you give up light, airy, fluffy bread, but you have to eat unleavened bread. That's the hard part. Meaning every day for 7 days, you have to grab some of this or a tortilla and you have to eat it every single day of the 7 days. That is important to the tradition and to understanding the spirit of the law. Because why? Because this is what we had and this is all we had. So you want to eat it until you get what? Sick of eating it. That's the point. Because they were sick of eating it. And what did they do when they got sick of eating it, officers? Who knows? Isupk? They kept eating it, and then what did they do? They went against Moses and wanted to go back to Egypt. That's in the Bible. Over this precept. In Egypt, we had the flesh pots. We had this. They got so sick of this, they chose slavery. They said, I want to go back because I'm sick of eating this unleavened bread. This is all we have, and I'm tired of eating it. And they went against Moses and tried to go back to Egypt, so much so that the Most High sent them quails to eat. And they ate so much that they were like gluttons and they died from eating too much. He gave them exactly what they wanted. They got sick of eating that bread. What was the bread they made? Manna. They got so sick of it that they wanted to go back to Egypt. They were done with it, man. Done with it. Well, we keep the tradition. So you keep eating it. So whatever meal you make, you're a Benjamite, you're making those oxtails and jerk chicken, get Benjamin out of here. Where's Benjamin out of here? Benjamin, right? Stand up, Benjamin. Give him my hand. Boop, 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 boop. Well, you can eat all the oxtails and jerk chicken you want, but you better eat some unleavened bread with it. Whatever you eat, you are going to make this bread. You're going to become experts at making this thing. Now, how do you make this damn thing? You make unleavened bread. In essence, if you get flour and water in a bowl, you flatten it out, that's unleavened bread. Okay, you're done. But now you can add something to it. If you want to put an egg in it, that's your choice. You want to put some oil in it, you want to fry it, you want cinnamon, if that's what you like. You can make it however you want to make it, but you better eat it. You got to eat some every day. And you brothers and sisters, you'll become experts in trying different things and making it different ways. Give Commander General Yohana's sister a Hawabah hand. Commander General Yohana's sister Hawabah makes the bread, the best unleavened bread I ever had to this damn day. She's been making it for 35 years. Okay, so you can understand. But you want to, try it out and get it the way you like it, and you can make it however you want to make it. It just, of course, cannot have any leavening in it. All right? Continue.
Verse 20. You shall eat nothing leavened, in all your habitations shall you eat unleavened bread. Verse 21. Then Moses called for all the elders of Israel and said unto them, draw out and take you a lamb according to
I think that's it. We read that already, right? Now give me the ones you're holding. All right? Let's try to move. Exodus 11 and 16, go ahead.
Exodus 11 and 16.
What was this? Go ahead.
Exodus 11 and 6. And there shall be great cry throughout all the land of Egypt, such as there was none like it, nor shall be like it anymore.
I love this precept. This is an excellent precept. This is the Most High telling Moses what his plan was, what his judgment was. Read that again.
Exodus 11 and 5. And the firstborns in the land of Egypt shall die, from the firstborn of Pharaoh that sitteth upon his throne, even unto the firstborn of the maidservant that is behind the mill, and all the firstborn of beasts.
So imagine that Pharaoh's son died that night, his firstborn son. His servant, the woman that sweet, the place that Pharaoh lives in, her son died. The firstborn of everything died that night. Continue.
Verse 6, there shall be a great cry throughout all the land of Egypt, such as there was none like it, nor shall be like it anymore.
Imagine screaming and crying that had never happened in history. And you have to put yourself there. Every house, in the middle of the night, all you hear is just screams coming from every home. And it was God's love being demonstrated in Egypt. That's what that scream represented. Those screams represented the abundance of God's love for the children of Israel. And that's what it was. And it's hard. It's hard for us blacks and Hispanics. We're so used to oppression. We think God shows love, we think God's love is really in your mind. We think God loves you because you feel good. You got a joy in your butt. What's that next thing say? I got joy in my bones and joy in my heart, right? You think that's God's love because that's the only way you've ever experienced it. But imagine seeing and hearing God's love because the people who killed your children, now they're crying over their child. And you didn't kill them. You didn't pick up a weapon. You didn't do anything but serve God. And now they are all crying the way you cry. That was a demonstration of God's love. And there were screams all over Egypt. Continue.
Verse 7, but against any of the children of Israel shall not a dog move his tongue.
Read that again.
But against any of the children of Israel shall not a dog move his tongue.
This is an act of love, man. While the Egyptians were crying because their firstborn children were dead, a dog couldn't bark at an Israelite. Not one. A dog would see you and shut his damn mouth and say nothing. This is the greatest act of love in history to this point. But there's a greater one coming. There's a greater one coming, which is why we're here tonight. Yeah. Let that be a warning to our enemies. God isn't done loving us. I pray you understand that. Oh, he's not done. He loved us that night and he'll love us again. Our enemies died. They cried. They mourned. They were sad. And a dog wouldn't bark at us. Continue.
Against man or beast, that ye may know that the Lord doth put a difference between the Egyptians and Israel.
Read that again.
Against man or beast.
Do you know what that means? So a dog didn't bark at you, and a dog didn't bark at your beast. Meaning another dog didn't bark at your dog. Another dog didn't bark at your cat. A dog didn't bark at you or your beast. Why? Why, Ash?
That ye may know how the Lord doth put a difference between the Egyptians and Israel.
That's why, right? We're different than them. And this difference saved our lives one night. This difference is why we didn't die. And if you can understand Jesus Christ, who we know as Yahweh Shai Mashiach, our King, because there is no difference between you and our oppressor, that's why we're dying. We die because there is no difference now between you and the other nations. That's why we're dead. That's why we are dying of drugs and violence and plagues. Because now there is no difference. So we die just like them. There was a time when the Lord our God made a clear difference. And he's going to make it again. Continue, give it a hand. Go ahead. I think there's just two more, right? Go ahead.
Verse 8, and all thy servants shall come down unto me.
Go ahead.
And bow themselves unto me, saying, Get thee out, and all the people that follow thee.
I think that's it. I broke that down earlier. Wasn't it one more? Wisdom of Solomon, then we'll get back on to the High Holy Day thing. Give General Mayaka a hand, come rock it out. And do it for something, boy. Give him a hand. Oh, did you say? Oh, I got what you're saying. All right. I think you should stay up, boss. Just the three of us are doing service, all right? General Mayaka, he's up here to roll with me today. That's all. We hang out all the time. So come to, we just up here hanging out. It's just me, you, and this young brother right here rocking it up. All right, go ahead.
The book of the Apocrypha, the Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 18 and verse 10. But on the other side, there sounded an ill according cry of the enemies.
And listen, so what does it say in verse above it?
Verse 9. For the righteous children of good men did sacrifice secretly. And
One more verse.
Verse 8.
That's it loud.
Wherewith thou didst punish our adversaries, by the same thou didst glorify us.
One more verse above it.
Verse 7. So of thy people was accepted both the salvation of the righteous and destruction of the enemies.
Read that again.
God. The book
Keep
of
the noise
Wisdom
down
Solomon,
over here.
chapter 18
Let's keep it down.
and verse 7. So of thy people was accepted both the salvation of the righteous and destruction of the enemies.
And that's important, man. And you can't claim to love God without accepting both of those. Need me up?
So I give everyone can please level their voice, Baba Shah.
Try to keep the noise down. I can barely talk. Keep the noise down before I start talking to you. All right? So now, what happened? It's extremely difficult to love God and not accept both of these. And that's important today because today, of course, you can't accept the destruction of the wicked and still claim to love God. You have to be sad and miserable because everyone doesn't get saved. How many times do you have to battle someone about that? Well, why can't white people be saved? Well, you telling me everyone doesn't get saved? Why can't we come to your Passover? How come you picking me up and kicking me out of the Passover? Why can't I come? This is why. Read that again.
God. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 14 and verse 7. So of thy people was accepted both the salvation of the righteous and destruction of the enemy.
That's what happened that night. We accepted that, yes, we are the ones getting saved. No one else, us. And we also accepted that the wicked were being destroyed. We accepted that, and there is no salvation without it. Salvation, it's part of being saved. Part of being saved is other people not being saved. That should be, understandable. Or else what in the hell are we working so hard for? If everyone gets saved, then what's the point of giving up drugs? Giving up crime? Giving up things that your flesh loves, but the spirit hates? Well, on this night, the Egyptians had to die. They had to go, and the Israelites had to live. And we accepted it. Continue.
Verse 8. For wherewith thou didst punish our adversaries, by the same thou didst glorify us, whom thou hadst called.
You get that? The Lord punished our enemies and glorified us. And we celebrate it every year because it is absolutely beautiful. Continue.
Verse 9. For the righteous children of good men did sacrifice secretly, and with one consent made a holy law.
We sacrificed secretly back then. Why? Because we piled into our houses. We put blood on the door. We didn't want the Egyptians to know because they were about to be screaming and crying and mad. And these were the children of good men. Good fathers who taught their children to put that blood over the door, who taught their children to kill that lamb, and taught those children to obey Moses. The same way we teach you to obey Command and General Yohana. Give him a hand. That's if you want to live. That's if you want to live, but that's up to you. Continue.
That the saints.
Let's second warrior. Right here. If you don't mind, I'll take one more. Send me one more time, Mark the weather. Go ahead. Please continue, Mr. Carter.
That the saints should be alike partakers of the same good and evil.
The saints should be alike. We should be one. That's another major ethic in the UPK. Us all being the same. All of us being the same, man. We think alike, we dress alike. Our opinions are the same. Everything is the same about us. Why? Because on one night, thousands of years ago, we all shared salvation while our enemies shared death. And we remember it, and we keep it going. If you don't mind, if you don't mind, I'm trying to go to please. Go ahead up.
The fathers now singing out the songs of praise. Verse 10. But on the other side, there sounded an ill-according cry of the enemy.
So we're in our houses singing like we sung yesterday. In our houses singing. But on the other side, on the other side, what?
An ill-according cry of the enemies.
An ill cry of the enemies, screaming and wailing. You've heard that sound. It's the sound you heard your mother make over your brother, right? Over your sister, or your aunt make over your cousin, right? There's no black person that has not heard that sound. No Hispanic that doesn't know what it's like when a woman is crying over a dead child. It's terrible. Remember, Maya, we went to your crib when all your cousins died? I didn't even think about that day. I think Jeremiah, all of his cousins got all killed all at once. Man, he took me and General Yohana. I don't even want to think about it. Because the sound, it like a stain my mind. That's the best way I can understand it. It's like a stain in my head of when she wailed out in the living room. Well, on that night, they cried like that. They heard what we heard. Now, let them get used to it. Let them go to church. Let them buy t-shirts. Let them go put faces on t-shirts. Let them do it. Continue.
And a was brought for children that were bewailed. Verse 11. The master and the servant were punished after one manner, and like as the king, so suffered the common person.
So this is what part? I'm gonna give you the answer if I say it. The master threw it, the servant threw it, the king went through it, the commoner went through it, which means that this punishment was not about what? Right here? Okay, it happened to the Pharaoh, but it also happened to the servants. So this punishment was not about what? So what is that? It wasn't about, punishing the rich person, that's our oppressor, because the poor one died too. So remember, the rich one was the one beating our back. The poor one was poor, sweeping the floor. So why did he die? Of course, you can understand why Pharaoh's son died, because he's Pharaoh's son, and Pharaoh is beating our backs and forcing us to build those monuments to arrogance, which are pyramids. But why is the poor Egyptian also dying? He didn't beat our backs. So then why are both of them dying? Brothers right here, I can't see you. Go ahead. Because they all the same what? Say again? Can't hear you. What's another word for people? Say that again. So the rich one is dying, the poor one is dying. The one who's the oppressor is dying, and the one who sweeps the floor is dying. What do they have in common? It's not class. It's not money. So what do they have in common, Malakwa? Race. Race. They died because they were Egyptian. That's it. They didn't die because they were the ones beating us, because this man was poor. He was sweeping floors and shoveling out stables. He died too. The Lord killed a race of people for us because race matters. Oh yeah. Now, why is that so beautiful? Because he can save a race of people too. He can save a race. On this night, I'll read it for you one more time. Take it to your preacher. Those of you who are visitors here tonight who are really sinners but dressed up like one of us, take this back to your preacher and ask him to explain it. Go ahead.
The book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 8.
Nice and loud.
Verse 8.
Just the part where, the rich and the poor and all that.
Verse 11. The master and the servant were punished after one manner, and like as the king, so suffered the common person.
Why in the hell? Why? Why did the king suffer like the common person and the common person like the king? What did the common person do? The common person didn't refuse to let us go. Who refused to let us go out of Egypt? Pharaoh didn't. Pharaoh refused to let us go. Moses said, "Let my people go." Pharaoh said no. So what did the common person do and the servant do? He had the nerve to be Egyptian. That was his problem. He had a nerve. The nerve of it. Well, there are a lot of people in here that got some nerve too in America. They got a nerve to be something else who we. And they're going to pay for that too. Keep going.
Verse 11. Verse 12. So they all together had innumerable dead with one kind of death. Neither were the living sufficient to bury them.
There wasn't enough living people to even bury the amount of dead they had. Continue.
For in one moment, the noblest offspring of them was destroyed.
I think that's it. I think you get the whole point, right? So you know what you got to do tonight? No unleavened bread. You got to eat some unleavened bread. We got it in this room. You better take advantage of it and get some for tomorrow. Hold that bread, eat some, take it up to that room. You need to eat it. If you're in a jam, of course, you go into a store and you buy some corn tortillas, keep them with you. They're delicious. You eat some every day. Everybody gets it, right? Let's get back on it. I'm sorry. Next brother, come on.
Officer Yarash Ahmad, protect thyself and thy registry. Yarash Ahmad.
I'll get you to relieve me anyway for the prayers, man. Either one of y'all.
Rush him up, Bun Yasha.
Yarash Ahmad.
Bun Yasha Allah.
How about Shibya Shabbat?
How about Shibya Shabbat? Wrap it up for the young boy. We want us to cross. Let me see. Where you from, Yarash?
Virginia, sir.
Give Virginia a hand. Virginia rocking it out. All right, get it on. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. So,
Leviticus chapter 23, verse 22. What will become the rock? Which is the yard of Rebbetzakam, La'ah, the Kala, Ba'ah, Shakah, Laki, Shadah, Baba, what is the rock? Walakwat, what is the yard? La'ah, the Lakwat, La'ayah, what is the Law, the Isaac, a thumb, Slaki, Ahma, and Yah, Yahweh, Al-Hayakam. Verse 23, where is the boy Yahweh al-Mashala Amor? The boy ala Yasha ala la Amor Bakadash. Hasha Yahya Bahor la Haran, like Kadash, Yahya la Kam, Shabbat one. Verse 25. Verse 25. Verse 25. Shabbat one. Tawai, Mapakumaa, Kadash, Ka, Malaka, Aiba, Slaka, Ibadala, the Aishawa, Wakara, the Masha, La Yahweh, verse 26, where the boy Yahweh al Shala Amor, by Aishawa, La Kadash, Ashab Yahya, Hazak, the Bum, Baba, Slaki, Hakapori.
Slug if I could. Hey, we have the Shema in the Hebrew. If I could, everyone has the Shema.
It's the Lord's holy service, man. If you can't be quiet when asked to be quiet, maybe this ain't the place for you. You understand? Let's hear the Lord's words, man. Let's hear the Hebrew being spoken. And let's hear the Spirit of the Lord being broken down. Let's get on behind it speaking that shit. You can't shut your goddamn mouth. Let's be quiet in the service. If you gotta conduct business like normal, you ain't gotta be too loud. That's all I'm saying.
I don't think they know how to shut them kids up they have. You need me to help you with those children. You need my help, just call me and I'll help you. Those kids will sit down like robots. Birds will land on their heads. Call me on the phone, I'll help you with your children if you can't control them, all right? All the time. What's that going? Go ahead.
I'm still here talking. A sister. I don't want to call nobody out. It's like I'm trying to do something.
No, hell no, man.
Let's come on now. Can we be quiet for the service? Why, sisters? Sure.
You got it, Warren.
Hakaporium, Hawa'a, Makura'a, Kodash, Yahya Lakam. Verse 8. I nine Yakum. Pashak Yakum. Hakuratham. Ashak, La Yahya. Mala'aka, La'ata, Aishawa, Ma'atazam, Haywam, Bazak, Yayam, but Slakia, Kaborium. That's it on some way.
Grab me that point. You need to listen. This young warrior knows he speaks Hebrew. You don't speak Hebrew. You can barely speak English. This warrior speaks Hebrew. Pay attention. Go ahead, give him that. You good? Grab it up. Give him that hand. Give him that hand. Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. Salam here. Go ahead.
Leviticus chapter 23, verse 22 in the English. And when ye reap the harvest of your land, thou shalt not make clean of the corners of thy field. When thou reapest, neither shalt thou gather any gleaning of thy harvest, and shall leave them unto the poor and to the stranger.
If I could, let me just break these down for you to understand them, all right? This is another law that the Most High provided us to take care of the poor. As you know, the Most High doesn't want our people to be beggars, right? Being a beggar can stain your honor. So the Most High provided for the poor of our people so that they didn't have to beg. So every farmer, everyone that had a farm or had orchards or trees or vineyards, you could only pick the crops from the center of your field. The corners, meaning the outskirts of the fields, you had to leave the fruit on the trees, leave the fruit on the vine so that the poor could come and that was their portion. Think of it like a welfare system or the original welfare system where you're not begging for this food, it's yours. They're giving it to you and the farmer leaves it on the trees. You come in there and pick it, it's yours. And Most High provided for the poor in that way. And so you didn't have to go beg a farmer for food because that was your food if it was on a tree that was on the outskirts of his farm. Everyone understands. Go ahead.
I am the Lord, your power. Verse 23, and the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, verse 24, like it. Verse 24, speak unto the children of Israel, saying, in the 7th month, in the first day of the month, shall ye have a Sabbath, a memorial blowing of trumpets, and holy convocation. Verse 25.
That's another high holy day, the memorial of the blowing of the trumpets. In cities, when you go back home, we're going to be doing all of these. If you're new, you'll see all of these being celebrated and kept in their proper time and tradition, all right? That's the time when we blew trumpets to remember that there was a time when the land of Israel came and went by the blowing of a trumpet, meaning we knew by this sound there was an enemy coming. We knew by this sound we should shut our gates and come into our homes. We knew by this sound to go out and fight. And so we remember that there was a time when we were in a state of war. And that's the problem with peace. Peace is, this confession is good for the soul, Mayab. I'm so uncomfortable because right now there's no fake Israelite group trying to destroy us because we conquered them all, that I can feel, I don't know, you know what I'm saying? Like it's like I don't have an enemy. I don't have one. There's no, we wiped out those purple faggots. We wiped out the red and white ones. And we're not fighting the cops anymore. We're not fighting the FBI. We're not fighting the skyscrapers in Philadelphia. At those times, I was more comfortable.
Even this week, you know, ain't there no police holding up on us?
Yeah, it's like
I've seen them on the streets.
It's like if you're a man of war, it can feel like you have no purpose without an enemy. Those of you who understand know what I mean. Well, in the time of peace, the Most High gave us laws to remember what it was like. There was a time when you heard an alarm and you ran and got your weapon. You heard an alarm and you shut the gates of the city because we were under attack all the time. So because of that, we came and went at the sound of trumpets. And the Lord doesn't want you to forget it in the time of peace. That's the spirit of the law. Everyone understands. These laws all have that aspect of remembering a hard time, remembering a time of war or of hunger or of something so that you don't forget. All right, come on. Go ahead. Pause.
And listen also to Nehemiah 4 chapter real quick, brother. And that brother right there reading here, we'll give you Nehemiah 4 and 15. Because what you know about high and sand is so heavy. Don't forget that spirit of warfare, man. And right now, you don't understand how much mercy the Lord is giving you to our ancestors and to build the nation back and go to war at the same time. Your war right now is in your mind and your head. And you got to fight them voices telling you things other than what the Lord said. That's right. The spirit of the Lord leads you back to remember. For the time to give us. We have to build the temple with a sword in one hand and with a weapon in the other hand to build the tool in this. Man, I got a build tool right here, a hammer, and I got my sword right here.
Yeah, man.
Like today, you would have your firearm, and then you would have them pistol right here, or a spike with a spike on the walls. Build it back up again. That's how it used to be. But that was the spirit that our ancestors had. They loved the heavenly people, and y'all better not forget that, man. Let's talk about warfare and nothing else. Beautifully, brother. Let me get my 4:15. You understand me? That's the spirit we're supposed to be in. And let me tell you something for you sisters, the same thing. You gotta fight the spirit of the same garbage that sisters of the world do. That's your biggest battle, to be honest. You fight that other spirit that's in the world. It's a fight. You do that, y'all don't want it. You don't want it. You gotta put me up. Read it up.
Nehemiah chapter 4, verse 15. And it came to pass when our enemies heard that it was known unto us, and power had brought their counsel to naught, that we returned all of us to the wall, every one unto his work.
That's what we doing in the work of the Lord. Don't get it twisted. We come here, y'all. We do it as some fun. We party and how Israel party. But there is work to be done. Just like the Lord has to get you, and you gave it to other brothers and sisters, we got more to go get. But guess what? We got more work to do. Don't get in here, get trouble, and think we do it. I know a lot of y'all be on Facebook. I'm gonna tell you right now, I hate Facebook. I hate it with a passion. It burns my soul. You understand? Because it gives like a fake facade, like you're really something, but we really not according to the Lord. I can't stand it. But it's a good tool to push the truth. Remember that. Keep on reading, brother.
Verse 16. And it came to pass from that time forth that the half of my servants wrought in the work, and the other half of them held the spears, the shields, and the bows, and the habergeons, and the rulers were behind all the house of Judah. Verse 17. That was builded on the wall, and that they bear burdens with those that laid, every one with one of his heads brought in the work, and with the other hand held a weapon.
Let me tell y'all something. Don't tell me to get this scripture right here, man. Because that's our job right here today in this captivity right now. And even though it ain't physical, it's still spiritual. And that same spirit they had back then, that same spirit that these scriptures they had back then, you gotta have right now to bring this truth forth. You know what I mean? If not, you ain't gonna do it. If not, you will be a Christian. Period. All of us cats out there ain't straight Christian. I'm just telling you what it is. It is what it is. I mean, I'm cool with the clap and non-clap. I'm fine with that. I know they're Christian. Right. I'm check out of Europe when they call it talking trash. I'm going to hold on and I feel with it. It was exclusive, right? The Lord called you to be something different. Right. You know what I mean? In one hand, you will have your weapon and your sword. And the other hand, you will have your building tool to build this nation. That's your job.
That's right.
To build this nation. Whether you're a brother or whether you're a sister, that's your job. Forget about your personal inconveniences, what you don't like, or what you care about. Who cares about that? I ain't got no mercy for you. I'll tell you right now, God got no for me. I can check. Right. So when you talk with your personal feelings, it's going to happen. Yeah. Sorry, you know. Come on now, really? I'm about to be really serious with that, really. It's about a nation. It's not about this us. I mean, you, it's about us.
You got it out.
Also, speaking back off of Hodge too. Earlier today, just today, my son, he wanted some pizza. He wanted to do other things, you know. So we in the feast of unleavened bread, you know, so, you know, we can't rock with the, you know, the leavened dough. He said, Dad, 12 years old, Dad, I hate the feast of unleavened bread. I said, watch your goddamn. I said, you in my world now. I said, listen, we in a time of peace right now, like the gentleman I pulled out earlier. You understand? So it seems like, why do all these things? Why be going through all this? You know, there's no reason. We do this to remember when we was at war. We do this to remember when we could not eat the leavened bread, even though we wanted to. We do this because we wanted some goddamn bread. We wanted some good food. But we had to get the hell out of Egypt, man. Our orders to the most high. So we gonna never forget that. None of us, children included, ain't gonna forget that. We're gonna pass it down to our kids. They're gonna pass it down to their kids, like the Lord said. I was honored that he even brought it up, and it made me think, it's so heavy how we do things. Like we gonna be in the key, no matter what your position is, the Lord said 7 days work well in boots. He didn't care where you live, but you gonna remember the time, you understand, when we had no homes, when we had no mansions, when we had to move, we gonna remember our ancestors forever, man. Just like every other nation does, even in the times of peace.
Give General Mayak and General Haas a hand. It's so important now. And it can be difficult when you can have pizza every day, when you can have a warm place to sleep. It can be difficult to force yourself to remember. But for other ones of us, that's all they want is war and killing. And you better, I'm gonna confess something else, Maya. I turn the camera off. I'm gonna confess something else. We've been winning so much, I'm close to starting a fight with somebody. Turn it back. I'm close, Maya.
I got you back.
All right, listen. Okay, turn the camera back on. Turn the camera back on. I would never, I feel it. Like I'm about to start something because I need something. Okay, now, but not that we don't do that. That's not so. Turn the camera back on. We would never do anything like that, sir. Commander General Yana, sir, cut out of one gun. I would never do that, of course. All right, let's continue, please, before I lose my rank. Go ahead.
So Leviticus chapter 23, verse 25. You shall do no servile work therein, but ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord. Verse 26. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, verse 27. Also on the 10th day of this 7th month, there shall be a day of atonement. It shall be in holy convocation unto you, and you shall afflict your souls, and an offering made by fire unto the Lord.
For those of you who are new, that's the Day of Atonement. That's a 24-hour fast. It's not Ramadan, which is missing lunch. That's what Ramadan is. Ramadan's like an 8-hour fast or something like that, 12 hours. It's basically missing lunch. Right. If you miss lunch, you love Allah. Yeah. This is 24 hours, no food or water. You get my point? No food, no water. Why? You afflict your soul. Do you get a theme through all these laws? There's a theme to this. It's a people who have made it out of captivity, a people who have food, who have water, and they are suffering on purpose. They're choosing suffering. And that's where dedication comes from, young man. That's where discipline comes from. There's a suffering brought upon you. You lose your job. You're poor. You have to go through that. There's suffering you choose, Hebrew Academy. You understand what I mean, right? I thought you might. There's a suffering you choose. Well, the Day of Atonement is a day of suffering you choose. No food, no water, period, done. If you're healthy, if you're not pregnant, if you're not the elderly, then you're not eating or drinking for 24 hours, and you are going to think that you're going to die, but you will not. Now remember that the next trial you go through. Continue.
Verse 28. And ye shall do no work in that same day, for it is a day of atonement, to make an atonement for you before the Most High, your power.
Whatever you call it, it's on you.
That's what I'm 28. Leviticus chapter 23, verse 29 in the Hebrew. Our lekapar al-yakam, lekapanya Yahweh al-yakam, kaya, kal, hanapash, shah, la'av, the aina, the aitaza, aitais, like aitism, hayawam, hazak, hanakartha, it's like a ma'anya. Verse 30. Verse 30. Wakal on the pash, Ashar, the Aisha, Kal, Malaka, Ma'aitism, Hayawam. Verse 30, like verse 31. Hazah, Wahabad, like Habadaya, on the pash, Hawa'a, Makarab, Aima, Kal, Malaka, La'a, the Aishawa, Kakwa, Al, like I will love. La Darak Yakam, Bakal, Mashabak Yakam, Shabbat, verse 32, like it, verse 32, Mashabak Yakam, Shabbat one, Hawa'a Lakam, Wa'ain, like it, Wa'ain Yakam, Napash, Napash Yakam, but the Sha'aya, Lakadash, Ba'irab, Ma'irab, Irab. The Shabbat Shabbat come. Verse 33. When the boy Yahweh al Mashala Amor, the boy al Manya Yasha Allah Amor, but Bahama, I saw you one Lakadash, Hashabaya Ayah, Zah, Hag, Pas, like a Hapakwa, La Amor, but Bahamasha, I saw the one Lakadash, Hashabaya Zah, like verse 35. Shabbat Yum Yum, La Yahweh, by Yawam, Hava Ashwan, Makra'a, Kudash, Kal, Malaka.
Give him a hand. God damn.
That was like me, brother. That was like me.
I think he sung it. He sung it. Go ahead.
That's it. Starting from verse 28 in the English. 29 in the English. Leviticus. Oh, okay, that's not it. I got it. Leviticus chapter 23, starting from verse 29. For whatsoever soul it be that shall not be afflicted in that same day, he shall be cut off from among his people. Verse 30, and whatsoever soul it be that doeth any work in that same day, the same soul will be like the same soul will I destroy from among his people. Verse 31, you shall do no manner of work, it shall be a statute forever throughout the generations in all your dwellings. Verse 32, it shall be unto you a Sabbath of rest, and ye shall afflict your souls in the 9th day of the month at even. From even unto even, ye shall celebrate your Sabbath. Verse 33, and the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, verse 34, speak unto the children of Israel, saying, the 15th day of this 7th month shall be the Feast of Tabernacles for 7 days unto the Most High. Verse 35, on the first day shall be in holy convocation. You shall do no servile work therein.
The Feast of Tabernacle, that's what General Ayat brought up earlier. That's where we went into tents and we lived in tents for 7 days. Now, this is not a law that we practice by the letter of the law since we went into captivities. This is also in the Bible where the Most High said that we stopped doing this once we went into captivity, because of course in captivity, we don't have to remember what it was like to be homeless, because we're homeless right now. Everybody understand? Our people, I mean, I forget the percentage, but there are a great percentage of people that live in tents right now, or live in housing complexes because you're homeless, or live in shelters because you're homeless, or live in projects because you're homeless, or live in subsidized housing because you're homeless, or live on someone's couch because you're homeless. So this is not something that we do in practice as a nation, because we don't need to remember what homelessness is like, because we're in it right now. But there will come a time when we will force ourselves into tents, because we will be people that have our own land and have our own mansions, and then do it by law. Right now, we're doing it because of circumstance. A lot of you in the room right now tonight are homeless, or someone's couch in your grandmother's house. Everyone understands. Continue.
Verse 36, 7 days we shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Most High. On the 8th day shall be in holy convocation unto you. And ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Most High. It is a solemn assembly and ye shall do no servile work therein. Verse 37. Select. I'm 36 in Hebrew. Yeah. Leviticus chapter 20, verse 36 in the Hebrew. Shabbat Yamya Makarabi, Slagi, Makarayabwa, Ashar La Yahawah Bayawam, Hashamayana, Slagi, Hashamam Yanayat, Makara'a Kodas Yahaya, Lakam, Wakarabdam, Ashar La Yahawah Aytp, Slagi, Aytp, Hawa'a, Ka, La Aka, Aybata, La the Ashar.
That's it.
Little rocky. Leviticus chapter 23, verse 37. Allah Mawa'ija Yahaya Ashar the Korah Atham Makaraya Kodash La Korah La Quaria, of course, like Koraya Ashar La Yahawah Ailan Manaka, what's like one Manaka, Zabak, one it's like one Sakyam, the boy you want by your one word. Verse 38 in Hebrew. Malabad Shabbatha Yahawah Malabad. It's like a Wamalabad Manawaf Yakam Malabad Kal Nadar Yakam Malabad Kal Nadamwaf. It's like it Nadabawaf Yakam Ashar. It's like it the fun word Yahawah. Verse 39. Bakat Kamasha Shayam Lachadash Hashabayaya Ma'asak come double it's like a double Ha'arataza it's a fun word. It's like the Chagwa Chag Yahawah Shabai Yum by Yawam Ashwan, it's like Ashwan Shabbathwan Waba Yawam Hashemayan, it's like a Hashemayan word. Shabbat one.
There you go, come it up for him.
Okay, Leviticus chapter 23, verse 40. And ye shall take you on the first day the boughs of goodly trees, branches of palm trees, and the boughs of fig trees, and willows of the brook, and ye shall rejoice before the Most High in power 7 days. Verse 41. And ye shall keep it a feast unto the Most High 7 days in the year. It shall be a statute forever in your generations. Ye shall celebrate it in Verse 30, starting from 36. All right. 7 days ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord. On the 8th day shall be a holy convocation unto you, and ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Most High. It is a solemn assembly, and ye shall do no servile work therein. Verse 37. These are the feasts of the Most High, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations, to offer an offering made by fire unto the Most High, a burnt offering, and a meat offering, a sacrifice, a drink offering, everything upon his day. Verse 38. Beside the Sabbath of the Most High, and beside your gifts, and beside all your vows, and beside all your freewill offerings which ye give unto the Most High. Verse 39. Also in the 15th day of the 7th month, when ye gathered in the fruit of the land, ye shall keep a feast unto the Lord 7 days. On the first day shall be a Sabbath, and on the 8th day shall be a Sabbath. Verse 40. And ye.
That's the Feast of First Fruits, Ash. That's the Feast of First Fruits. You're going to do that back in your home cities, all right? And learn about it then. Go ahead.
Leviticus chapter 23, verse 40 in the Hebrew. Hadar, Napat, Kapat. The Mariam, what I not, Aytp, Aytp, what I bought, so I rock, what I rock, the hall, what Shemak, them the Pandit Yahweh, Allah Hayakam, Shabai, Yam. Verse 41 in the Hebrew. Wachad them, Ahwa, La Yahweh, Shabai, Yam. Bashama, Slaggy, Bashana, Kakwa, I will on, lover, Slaggy, Larashikam, Bakadash, Hashabaya, the Khagwa, Ahwa. Verse 42 in the Hebrew. Slaggy, but Basaka, the Shabwa, Slag Shabai, Yam, Cow, Hazarak, but Yasha'ala, Yeshua, but Basaka.
Give my hand. That's the Hebrew, right? Give my hand.
Verse 43 in Hebrew. Nama the Daiwa, the rock become Kaya, Ba'ira, Slaggy, Basabwa. Hawashabak ya Banya Yasha Allah, Hawatazaya, Ahma, Ma'arataza, Matazarium, and Yahweh, Hayaka. Verse 44 in Hebrew, where the bar, Masha, Ma'aita, Yahweh, Allah, Banya Yasha Allah.
They don't.
Verse 40 in the English. And ye shall take you on the first day the boughs of goodly trees, branches of palm trees, and the boughs of fig trees, and the willows of the brook, and ye shall rejoice before the Most High the power 7 days. Verse 41. And ye shall keep it a feast unto the Lord 7 days in the year. It shall be a statute forever in your generations. You shall celebrate it in the 7th month. Verse 42. You shall dwell in booths 7 days. All that are Israelites born shall dwell in booths. Verse 43, that your generations may know that I made the children of Israel to dwell in booths. When I brought them out of the land of Egypt, I am the Most High, your power.
That's what we went over earlier. A booth is a tent. That's what a booth is. All right, go ahead.
Verse 44, and Moses declared unto the children of Israel the feast of the Lord.
Let me say something to that, sir.
Please, House.
Listen, we going forward after this Passover, this high holy day, right? And brother, you give me 1 Corinthians 5 and 7 real fast. 1 Corinthians 5 and 7. The Lord said something very heavy, and all that I need to put in your spirit in your chest. And this is where Satan's going to attack you at. He's going to attack with all his might, because you hold on to it. Because you hold on to this is when he's going to attack. And listen, confession good for the soul. I get very aggressive at times. I call Jim about it. First thing he goes, now highs. When he say now highs, I know I gotta tone it down a whole lot. Even we just talking, and something come out of me, he goes now highs. And I know he calmed me down. I mean, because that old man in me be trying to come out. And told him I ain't even know. That's why I call him all that time, like y'all do all the time. You know what I'm saying? He knows exactly what's going on. And I gotta take it down. But you know why I said it happens? Because Satan attacks my old man. I can attack the old man. And I gotta learn how to fight it. During this Passover, man, we do an over to the Lord. Y'all purge that old leaven out of your spirit. Like get rid of that old man out of your spirit, man. And tell me the truth. Because my brother, you want to bring sinful avenue inside of you. Satan is always looking to see what way inside of your chest. But brothers and sisters, and if you can hold on to something about who you were in the past, oh, he's coming about that. He will see you one. And if you weak, if you don't listen, he will get you one. Scripture, brother. 1 Corinthians 5, verse 7.
1 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 5, verse 7. Purge out thereof, purge out therefore the old leaven.
Stop. Now the old leaven is that old person. That old leaven is who you were before you came in here. Your thoughts, your feelings, what you wanted. The Bible says get rid of it, man. Purge it out. Get rid of it. You know that leaven is an agent that makes things rise inside of you, right? It makes it rise, right? If it's that your old man or something you hold on to, you don't think Satan don't know because you're there no turn, it can rise back up inside of you and cause you to be cast up out of it. You understand me? That's what it's saying then, to purge, to get rid of it. To get rid of the old leaven, man. Keep on reading, word.
That ye may be a new lump.
Be a what?
A new lump.
Like the Bible said, man, when you come to this truth, you brand new. So the scripture say when one person comes to truth, the angels rejoice. Like you brand new, I don't care what you did in the world. You understand me? And who you were in the world. You come in here, you brand new. You understand me? Esau society, they're going to give you a second chance. They're going to look at you always as what they think you will be. But Christ gave you that second chance. You take that chance, and you take it, you live it, man. You become that new up. You kill that old man. Michael Jackson said it best, that man in the mirror. Yo, you gotta look at yourself in that mirror and be honest. Stop with the bullshit. Stop with the games. That's right. But look at yourself and be honest. And you kill that old man. Go ahead and finish reading, Warrior.
As ye are unleavened, for even Christ I will pass over a sacrifice for us.
Christ died to give you a second chance. Let me tell you something. That's the point of the Christian church. They can't tell you that Christ is a family tree. He was like somebody that's not like you. So in the world, you can't relate yourself to Christ. But in the truth, you know, Christ was raised like us. Mama, daddy, had sex, had him. Yeah. Everything you went through in life right now growing up, he went through. But still, didn't go against the power. Still, told by his daddy Joseph and did the right thing. So that's what you can do the same exact thing. You can live like that. You can be that way, man. Whenever somebody say to me, well, we can't be perfect, there's a level. Now, watch this cat right here. Yeah, watch this right here. That's exactly what I said in my mind. And I didn't look to what he said. Because we can be. And what it means to be perfect, y'all? Just do what the Lord say do. It's simple. It ain't really hard. It's just what God say do. That's what it means to be perfect. We gotta be that way, man. Get rid of your old man. Keep on reading, brother, last verse.
Verse 8. Therefore, let us keep the feast. Let us keep the feast.
Do not keep this feast, but keep it this way, man. How the Lord says, you change your stuff. You don't become a different brother and sister. You understand me? That means you gotta have some self-discipline. That's right. You can't react whenever something happens all the time. Know how to control yourself, especially your mouth. Not just for sisters, brothers, sometimes that's problems that their mouth. That's right. You understand? You can't be quiet sometimes. Keep on reading, brother.
God, not with old leaven, neither with the leaven of malice.
So you gotta give it up and knowledge. Get out your chest, man. That old man had knowledge inside himself. Go ahead.
And wickedness.
Go ahead.
But with the unleavened bread of sincerity and truth.
This is how we're supposed to go forward this Passover, man. Let me tell you something. As we end this Passover and the Feast of Unleavened Bread, you take these scriptures and you leave my hand and you live it. Once again, you got other brothers and sisters out there that need this truth, just like you need it. You know how you still here? Save your life. What you gotta have. Other brothers and sisters need the same thing that you have here. And they yearn for it. But they burn it. But guess what? We gotta go into it. All right? But you know how we see that hypocrisy in Christianity growing up, right? You know how we see it, right? Right. They see it too. So if they see you being a hypocrite, what the hell they gonna say? Right. How about you the truth? Yeah, I'm just on that. But they see you doing what you're supposed to. They don't call you hypocrite when you come in here. You leave out a brand new brother, a brand new sister, and let the whole world see what we're supposed to be. Christ said, let your light shine. Let it shine. Let the world see how we're supposed to be. Sister, we see those. Why you act that way? And if you even break down to what's going on, those will bring you the truth, man. But you ain't go through it, being that same old wicked person holding on to something from the past. God's saying it's not going to happen. You're a person out of the spirit. The old man got to go. Bring forth the right person. But who calls it the truth? So I guess
In my hand. Oh, damn. Hold up, Osh. One more thing. Also, too, this is it, right? As we conclude the whole thing, someone can relieve me from my voice, whatever you want to get it. The ball, the thumb. One of y'all relieve me, all right, for the prayers. Also, too, Commander General Yohana will be coming down to do marriage blessings for those of you couples that will request a marriage blessing. Now, don't embarrass me. Don't get in that line if you know you don't belong in that line. Okay, first of all, what are the requirements? If your wife is not in the truth, don't get in the line. If your husband is not in the truth, don't get in the line. If either one of you have a slavery and you're not paying your tithes, do not get in the line. If you don't have a slavery, then you don't owe any tithes because you don't have any income. But if you have slaveries and you are not paying your tithes, do not ask Commander General Yohana to bless your marriage because you are a sinner. Does everyone understand? If you smoke cigarettes, don't get in the line. If you smoke weed, don't get in the line. If you are someone that asks Commander General Yohana to bless this marriage, but at the end of it, you're going to go home and hate each other, do not get in the line. Please go ahead. Because by asking for the Most High God to bless your marriage, and for God's representative, Commander General Yohana, to do it, you're making a statement that you are deciding to govern your marriage under the eyes of God. And of course, you can't hate each other and have it approved by God. If you're not willing to forgive each other, don't stand in that line. If you're not willing to be patient with one another, don't stand in that line. Okay, and if you do it, I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to keep you off the line, and then I'll be embarrassed in front of my Lord, Commander General Yohana, and then I'll embarrass you. Does everyone understand? All right, after that, also, we'll have some councils. You want to contact I will out of Chicago to give them the council list, and that's that. All right, and who wants to relieve me? You want to hand it to him, Osh? Yes, sir. Walk out this way? Yes, sir.
I'll walk for you.
You can call it.
I'll walk for you. Barack.
That's my bad.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Give it in our hand. You always have to go. And Bobby, I don't remember him saying it. If you are not paying tithes, please don't get in the line. Don't get in the line. The Lord said where your heart is, your treasure will be there also. I understand. So if you're not paying tithes in the ISUPK, you really don't love the UPK.
That's right.
And you really don't deserve our approval. If you don't need it any damn way, you don't love it. Go to who you love. And let them approve your marriage. You understand? You got it, Lon. La Yashala.
I imagine, as everybody's already standing, Wapaya Hakwadam, which means face the east, which is behind you. What?
Let's pray in the Hebrew. Abanawa, Shabbat Shemayim, Kodash, Hayah, Shankar, Yahweh, Malakatah, Ama'ah, Watazaka, Hayah, Aisha, Ba'aratazah, Kabah, Hayah, Bashamayim, Nathanawa, Wacham, Kal, Yawan, Wasalach Nawa, Sabawat Nawa, Kasalach Nawa, Sabawat Nawa, Wala'ah, Abaya'an Nawa, Wanya Sayawan, Akol, Hamashai Nawa, Mayan, Rai, Kaya, Wakah, Hamalapa, Waha'ala,
This is the Lord's Prayer in the English. And a lot of you, if you're new, you may say, well, why do they speak the Hebrew all the time? The scriptures say, brothers that interpreted and rewrote those scriptures in other languages said, the Lord's word, I'm paraphrasing, the Lord's word has a greater power when it's spoken in its original tongue.
That's right.
You may pray in English, you may pray in Spanish, you may pray in French, you may pray in other languages, but when you pray in Hebrew, it shakes the spirit world. You understand?
That's right.
And so we pray in the Hebrew, and then, not to be barbarians, so you can understand, we interpret in the English. Here's the Lord's Prayer in the English. And listen, I'm going to tell you, listen. Isupk is home of the truth. Everything we do, we try to please the Lord. That's why we cannot be affiliated with no other Hebrew Israelite group. Because the Lord will destroy the nation for a rotten few, man. And commanded Julian Hunter instilled in me to always try to keep this nation perfect before the Lord, man. So that's what we do. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. So be it.
Yahweh, Hashem, Yahushai, Babakashah, Nathanawa, Hakah, Abba,
Bahasham Yahushua. The one among. That was the prayer for the power. Now here's the prayer for the power in the English. And we pray for the power from the Most High because our righteous and holy King told us that when I'm gone, there's going to come a day where you're going to receive power to heal, man. And power to do all types of things just like he did. And when that day comes, Israel, that's when the work begins. That's when the work will begin. Y'all ready for that? Class of 2022, you ready for that? Because the work coming, huh? The work coming. The prayer for the power in the English. Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, please, please give us the power to heal all manner of sickness and all manner of disease, the power to cleanse the leper, the power to raise the dead, the power against unclean spirits, and to cast them out. In the name of our holy righteous King Yahweh Shai. Thank you. So be it.
Psalm 121. Asha Ayodya, Al-Hahaya, Ma'ayan, Yama'a, Isaiah, Ma'ain, Yahweh, Aisha, Shemayim, Wa'aratana, Al-Yadan, Yamawat, Ragalka, Al-Yanawam, Shemarka, Hana, La'a, Yanawam, Wala'a, Yayashan, Tawamah, Yahweh, Tazalka, Al-Yan, Yamyamka, Yamawam, Ashamash, La'a, Yakar, Wayarok, Malayala, Yahweh, Yashamarka, Makaran, Yashamar, Napashka, Yahweh, Yashamar, Tala'afka, Babawa'aka, Ma'ai, This is Psalms, the 121st chapter in the English. I will lift up mine eyes unto the hills. From whence cometh my help? My help cometh from Yahweh, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. Yahweh is thy keeper. Yahweh is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. Yahweh shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy spirit. Yahweh shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in from this time forth and even forevermore. Amen. Al-Hayam, Al-Damayan, Al-Bakharash, Wa-Al-Bashakwat, Al-Kayam, Hana, Awu-Yab-Yaka, Yahama Yawan, Ra'ash, Al-Amaka, Ya'ira Yawan, Sawa, Waya Tazawa, Al-Tazabawan Yaka, Amawa, Lakawa, Anahakila, Makoya, Wala'a, Waya, Yakarapa, Ahaya, Alawam, Waya Shamaalia, Mawa Aba, Wahagaya, Kabal, Wa'aimawan, Wa'aimalak, Palashan, Anya Shabya, Hazawar, Gan Ashawa, Nalawa, Ainam, Ayawan, Zabrawai, Lamdalawan, Salah, Aishalaham, Kamadya, Kasaya Sara'a, Kayabyan, Panchal, Payaswan, Nasamatwa, Ba'ayanda Ara, Ayawa, Taman, Gandama, Sayatamba, Natayapawa, Ka'aira, Wakaza Aba, Wakasa Pak, Wakazal Manai, Hal, Nasaya Damba, Asha, Abawa, Nayarasha, Nawa, Nawan, Alahaya, Alahaya, Sayatamba, Kagalgala, Pash, Kapanya Raha, Kapash, Kapamaira Ya Aira, Wakalahaba, Alahat, Horyam, Khan, Paradatma, Basa Iraka, Wabasaba Pakta, Abahalam, Panyaham, Palawan, Wayabakashma, Shankar, Yahawa, Yabashma, Wayamahalma, Ayyanai, Wayakapawa, Wayakapatwa, Wayakahaiwa, Kaya, Atha, Shankar, Yahawa, Kapatwa, Ayawan, Al, Ha'aratana.
One of my favorite chapters in the Bible.
All right.
Psalms 83rd chapter. Psalms 83rd chapter starts with the first verse in the English. Keep not thy silence, O Yahweh. Hold not thy peace. And be not still, O Yahweh. For lo, thine enemies make unto them. And they that hate thee, Yahweh, have lifted up their head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people. They have consulted against thy hidden one. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel, even the name of Yahshua, may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. The tabernacles of Edom and those Ishmaelites of Moab and the Hagarene, Gebal and Ammon and Amalek, the Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre. Ashur is also joined with them. They have hoped in the children of Lot. Selah. Do unto them as unto the Midianites, as unto Sisera, as to Jabin, as the brook of Kazan, which perished in mid-north. They became dumb for the earth. Make their nobles like Oreb and like Ze'ed. Yea, all their princes, and Zebah and Zalmunna, who said, let us take to ourselves the houses of the Most High, in possession. All my power. I say, all my power. I say, all my power. Make them like the wheel. As the stubble before the wheel. As the fire burneth the wood. And as the flame setteth the mountains on fire. So persecute them. So persecute them. So persecute them with thy tempest, and make them afraid with thy storm. Fill their faces with shame, that they may seek thy name. Oh, Yahweh, let them be confounded and troubled forever. Turn, let them be put to shame and perish, that men may know that thou, whose name alone is Yahweh, art the most high power over all the earth. Amen.
Rakta Yahweh. Wa Yahweh Shai. Wa Mayakala. Wa Alahaya. Matazam Yah. Allah Wak Yahana. Ha Allah Wakya. Ha Saranya. Ha Matazayanya. Ha Khaliloya. Ha Wakya. Yahweh. Sham. Yahweh Shai. Awala. Amen.
No time left. These are blessings for all Israel in the English. Bless you, Yahweh. Bless you, Yahweh. And Yahweh Shai. And Yahweh Shai. And Michael. And Michael. And the angel. And the angel. Commanding General Yohanan. And all the generals. All the captains. All of our troopers. All of our beautiful sisters. Yahweh. In the name of Yahweh Shai. We thank you. So be it. Now we're going to say a prayer in English for the curses. Blessed are you, Yahweh, King of heaven and earth, and all things living. Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, we ask that you listen to us now. Right now, send evil and curses and punishment and destruction to all the heathen that speak against us. Thy prophets, the teachers, our princes, our priests, and all the Israelite brothers, and the school. Lord, Yahweh, send evil and curses and punishment and destruction to all the heathen, and shake loose the treasure of the rich of Israel that refuse to get to the school. Force their riches to enter into thy sanctuary. Yahweh, send evil and curses and punishment and destruction to all the Edomites and all the nations and their drug dealers and their court system and their damn prison system, to that damn Planned Parenthood, all the governments of our enemies, Amalek synagogue and their army, that Roman Catholic Church, the Pope, Christianity, Egyptology, the militia group, the Ku Klux Klan, the Aryan Nation, the skinheads, the Posse Comitatus, all the white nationalist groups, the gay movement, the lesbian movement, all of their spies, all their weapons of witchcraft, all of their NASA space program, the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, and that goddamn Space Force. Wall Street, own your house, open up the internet, and the airwaves, and the cable access channel, and the radio channel. Convict the spirit of any of thy people that seek to stop us, and bring swift destruction to all the heathen that stand in the way or try to stop us from broadcasting thy word throughout this planet Earth. Let loose all the plagues. Let loose all the plagues. Let loose all the plagues. Cause them to go to and fro throughout the earth and consume them. And consume them. Let the plagues shake the house of the thief and all of the murderers. Let Yahweh shine, Michael, and Gabriel come down with the flying saucer. Come down with your chariots and punish all the heathen that come up against us in the Isupk as we speak thy word. Cause it to be known by all that witness it that it is the angels that have done it. Cause it to be spread throughout the media and the whole world. Cause them to shake it down. In the name of Yahweh, we beg this of you, O Yahweh. Thank you always. So be. That must be that class of 2022. That's that class of 2022. Alawakwana, Barak, Yahweh,
Give a big shout out to the general behind it. Give a shout out to the general behind the house. Give a shout out to General Outside Young. Give a shout out to General Shaw Law. Give a shout out to General Confirming. Give a shout out to the Q Nixon General for Barman. Sorry.
early days, I bring all these brothers up, right? And I know that they're generals and they hold a certain rank to y'all. I'm gonna be brief. But I want to tell you, like I say every year, why I bring them up. I bring them up more for you than I do for me. Because I've been in this truth a long time. Y'all know I'm a relic. Some of your parents know me. I've been in the truth a long time, and I've seen so much amazing and wonderful and miracles, and so much of how Satan loves to destroy this truth. And I bring these generals up so that you can learn a lesson about loyalty, a lesson about brotherhood. When Satan came to destroy his school, I learned a lot of great lessons. I was sitting in New York City in a deli that myself and General Muhammad had opened up in New York while the entire nation was crumbling down with Satan. You probably don't want me to tell y'all this story, but I'm going to tell y'all it anyway, because you got a lesson to learn in there. He mentioned my sister Aytp earlier about the unleavened bread. The reason that Aytp had that recipe for the unleavened bread, because we were the only three standing in the truth at that point in New York City. After wearing my whole life for this truth, I was standing there with one young officer and one sister on the Passover. General Muhammad learned by fire how to make lamb. Aytp learned by fire how to make unleavened bread. The three of us sat at that counter in that deli and had the Passover. It was as though the truth of the Most High, the greatest gift we had ever received, we squandered it. And I took the full blame. I took every blow, every charge. It was all my fault. And I said it before the angel. This is a true story. Got me jacked up. So how y'all say y'all got me? Oh, man. And I went to the Most High and I took the whole charge. No matter what anybody did, I took the charge. And I only answered that charge if somebody tried to destroy what we went to build after that. We got back down on the streets of Philadelphia. Where's Azariah at? We came back to Philadelphia. And his sister Azariah right here. And I tell you, I put a cap in somebody over her. I put you to death over Muhammad's wife, Azariah. Not y'all, but you get my point. Because Azariah had a little one-bedroom apartment with her and her son Yahya. And she had a couch. And she said, go ahead and stay on my couch. And General Muhammad said, that's fine. And I had nothing, he had nothing, and Azariah fed us, and clothed us, took care of us. She never asked for nothing in return. That is the God's honest truth. That's right. For every single day that I've ever known this sister, it has been nothing but a joy to know this wonderful sister. And the reason it was so important to me at the time was because when you're down and have no hope, or damn near no hope, The only thing you got, is the brothers with enough courage to stand with you, man.
That's right.
And the sisters with enough courage to stand with you. If ever somebody put out the old tapes to me, I used to war on them streets, cutting with scriptures, tearing cats up. Nowadays, I can't hardly pull a scripture if it ain't about brotherhood. It's like I'm so stuck on it because I find it the hard way to learn the value of something. We came down in the streets of Philly, it was just the two of us. Under the rules, you can't open a camp with just two. When Muhammad went on into martial arts training, started going into all these old dojos, I tried to tell him they don't know shit. He needed to do something, so I go and get down. And then one day he said, man, we should call Micah Allah. He was a young officer in the truth as well. And I said, let's call him. And that's when he went and called Micah Allah. And both of us sat there and we watched Micah Allah and we was waiting for one question. And we talked with him. Well, first Muhammad talked with him and I talked with him. And then he finally hit the question. He said, is what they said about you true? Micah Allah is one of the only brothers out of thousands of brothers that ever came to me and asked me straight up, just like the scripture said, did you do it? Did you do it? And General Micah Allah answered him and I said, hell no, I didn't do it. Those are lies that they set up to destroy this school. That's right. And General Micah Allah been with me ever since. I'm not going to go on because I know y'all been here a while already. But I want you to know that the rest of these generals, General Hazayan, Shalmar, Babalama, Kadam Gabar, these brothers have stood with me through thick and thin, through lie, through truth, through hardship, through tragedy, through my own faults and mistakes. Without that level of the dedication and brotherhood, you cannot build anything in this hell. Choose you out, brothers and sisters, that will stand with you in this work. And there's a whole lot more. There's these brothers, and you got captains coming up now that are completely committed to this work, 10, 20 years in the game. Sisters in here, oh man, Dr. Shawashana, another sister in here, other great sisters coming in here. The host of them are so amazing. Oh my God, how could I forget the sister that got us the first school in Philly? Used her credit card to get us, I don't know, these are some bad brothers. They got some bad sisters with them. The sister Kadasha Ra here. Where she at? Y'all don't even know her, do you? Where she at? Yeah, little sister right there. That little sister right there put us on the map with our own credit card, man. It got us on our feet to build this church, man. Big shout out to you. Let me just, if I could, that's been my last right. And that's why a strong, loyal brother raises a wonderful, wonderful sister that helps the work of the Most High, man. If I catch you on the wrong side, I'm going to give you two. Over to you. Can I just mention the doctor right quick? Dr. Swashina, is she in there? Where's she at? Dr. Swashina is another sister that helped us so much in this work. Dr. Shwashana put the Everett also here on his way. Dr. Shwashana set us up with our nonprofit organization. That's how we got our 501c3 and started moving with all these other programs because of our hard work. And she also, while going to school, while working in slavery, while raising 2 children who are teenagers now, she still put us up, fed us. While we were in hell, I was getting the cops calling me because I was in there drunk in the projects acting like a fool. I'm going to tell you straight up. I was tore up and in pieces, but I was about this world. And we come home after camp and drinking. Somebody called the damn cops on our ass. I go to the hallway, I'm checking the police, telling them about his uniform. Somebody looking at me like I'm gonna kill this. And Dr. Shwashana was back, and so many more. I'm not even mentioning a tenth of them. Brothers, we need that loyalty. Be committed to your team and be committed to this team and do your will. And when things go bad, stand with them. Last statement. If your hotel wasn't right, so goddamn what? If you ain't getting no land, so what? If the bathroom smells, so what? If somebody messed up your garment, so what? Airlines lost your suitcase, so what? We got to be grown now, man. And grown people handle their business, man. We ain't the white man's babies no more, man. We gonna ride our own nation with our own God in the spirit of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. And where it stop us is the will of the Lord. Where we at now?
Men of Israel, imagine Shabbat. Imagine Barak.
Yahweh Hashem Yahushua.
What's your name? Israel! 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 Dr. Patar, dismissed.
The marriage line? What are you talking about?
Oh no, he's doing the food. Just drink water. Listen up. He's serving up. Whenever you ready.
Oh, okay. Okay, you want to make it? Okay. I want to
For your house.